Hi, this is Janine again. I need you to pay attention to that timeline because it tells you everything. 7:00 p.m. first reports of large crowds, illegal fireworks fighting. 8:25 p.m. riot, police move in, unlawful assembly declared. 10:50 p.m. every single beach in Newport Beach closed, all traffic cleared from the peninsula. That is less than 4 hours from large crowds gathering to entire city beaches shut down. That is an extraordinarily fast collapse. And what that timeline tells me is that by the time law enforcement realized what was actually happening, not just a big crowd, but an organized, aggressive, out-of-control situation, it had already grown so large that a single department couldn't handle it alone. That level of disruption in that time frame doesn't happen by accident. It was coordinated. Social media made that coordination invisible until it was too late to stop.
Independence Day celebrations took a chaotic and dangerous turn in Newport Beach over the weekend. KTLA's Annie Rose Ramos joins us live with the details. Annie Rose, good morning.
Hey, Frank, good morning to you. Yeah, police arrested just over 400 people when all was said and done. And it wasn't just teenagers, it was adults as well. After thousands of people flooded this area here, officers responding to reports of fighting, illegal fireworks, even looting here at the grocery store you see behind me, prompting a massive law enforcement response.
It was a riot. That's not me saying that. That's not a news anchor saying that. That is an eyewitness who lives there saying that on camera, and that word matters. There's a big difference between calling something chaos and calling it a riot. Chaos is accidental. A riot is a collective decision. And when someone who has watched 4th of July in Newport Beach for decades looks at what happened that night and uses that word, it's not exaggeration. It's an accurate description from someone with more than 50 years of experience there. And then that number, 350 personnel from 18 law enforcement agencies. Let me put that in perspective. Most cities in America have entire police departments smaller than the response Newport Beach needed that night. 18 agencies had to come together on a holiday weekend when every single one already had their own city to manage because the situation was way beyond what any one group could handle alone. That is not just crowd control, that is a major mobilization. And needing that scale of response tells you exactly how serious things got in real time. Officers weren't just trying to calm people down, they were working to regain control of the area.
Chaos in Newport Beach this 4th of July, all starting Saturday around 7 p.m., with reports coming in about large crowds lighting fireworks and fighting. By about an hour later at 8:25 p.m., riot police moved in. An unlawful assembly declared in the area of 26th Street and on the beach.
Two things in that clip I want to break down because they both matter a lot. First, the officers, an unknown number injured, and we know from other reports that at least one officer was hit directly by a fireworks mortar. Someone aimed at him on purpose. Not a stray firework aimed at a police officer on a national holiday. That is not just reckless behavior at a party. That is a deliberate attack on someone doing their job. And that detail gets lost in the bigger arrest numbers way too often. It shouldn't. Every single person who did that needs to face serious criminal charges, no question. Second, the grocery store. Watermelons, soda, all kinds of products thrown around and left broken in the parking lot. And then that line from the witness, it was not locals. I want to be careful here. We can't say every single person who came to Newport Beach that night was part of the problem. Thousands of people show up there every 4th of July and most are just there to enjoy the day. But the people who went into that store and took things without paying while cameras were rolling and the area was already declared unlawful assembly, those people made a choice. A clear, conscious choice. And that choice affects everyone who wants to visit or live there peacefully in the future.
Newport Beach Police Department, its entire area is closed.
By 10:50 p.m., all beaches in the city were closed, and officers were actively clearing traffic from the peninsula.
Never seen anything like this. Never seen. This year was the worst I've ever seen. Last year was kind of a little crazy, but this year, I mean, it was a riot.
This right here, this is the part of the report that hit me hardest, and I don't think it's getting enough attention at all. A man who has lived in Newport Beach for more than 50 years. 50 years of 4th of July celebrations. 50 years of watching that city grow and change. And he's standing outside a looted store saying he has never seen anything like what happened that night. This is not someone who overreacts or makes things sound worse than they are. This is a lifetime of experience telling you what happened was truly unlike anything before. And then the plaza owner. He drove there the morning of July 5th expecting broken windows and total chaos. Instead, he found neighbors, regular people from the community already there with brooms and trash bags picking up the mess strangers left behind. I want you to think about that for a second. In a story that feels really heavy and discouraging, there is this other side. People who had nothing to do with what went wrong, who woke up to a mess they didn't make and decided to show up and fix it anyway. That is what community actually looks like. It deserves just as much attention as the arrests and the damage. That quiet, steady effort is the real character of Newport Beach.
like this. Never seen. This year was the worst I've ever seen. Last year was kind of a little crazy, but this year, it was a riot.
In this video, you can see the crowds, but you might also be able to make out police on horseback there, charging into the crowds on the beach to break up violent revelers. Some 350 personnel from the Newport Beach Police Department, along with 17 other regional law enforcement agencies, ended up responding to what happened here.
That man said everything that needs to be said, and he did it with more grace than most people would ever have in that situation. He didn't tell everyone to stay away. He didn't say you're not welcome here. He said, come enjoy the beach, enjoy the holiday, just don't do what you did. That is an incredibly generous response from someone who watched his property get damaged and his neighborhood turned upside down. And I hope that message gets heard clearly, especially by anyone trying to frame this as some kind of class conflict or Newport Beach against outsiders. It's not. It's just a group of people who chose to ruin something that belongs to everyone. The beach belongs to everyone. The holiday belongs to everyone. The right to gather and celebrate with your family belongs to everyone. And a small number of people took that away from hundreds of others who were just there to have a good time. That owner's kindness is not weakness, and it's not an invitation to come back and do it again. It's a reminder of what this place is when the noise dies down, a community that cleans up its streets and still keeps the door open even after being let down.
And an unknown number of officers suffered non-life-threatening injuries while trying to calm the crowd. This nearby pavilion store was also looted Saturday night, with store products ending up on the parking lot floor. Everything from watermelons to Pepsi destroyed.
It was not locals. I've lived here for 54, 55 years, something like that, and I've never seen anything like that. Very sad. Hopefully the city can get it under control next year.
But the owner of the plaza where the pavilions is located sharing this photo with us of all the community members joining him and his son the following day, helping to clean up. He said he arrived here expecting to find windows shattered and a massive mess, then realized members were already up and out cleaning the parking lot.
Come to my city, please come enjoy yourself, have fun. It's the 4th of July, greatest country in the world, right? It's a beautiful beach. So beautiful beach. Water's warm, there's a little bit of surf. Why wouldn't you come here? And please do come, but please don't do what you did.
All right, police remain deployed throughout this area in order to deter anything like that from happening again. We do know 44 people went to the hospital as a result of those Saturday happenings, and 6 of them were considered trauma patients. Guys, back to you.
Okay, so here is my full take on this because there are parts I haven't seen anyone talk about fully. 402 arrests, 44 people hospitalized, 6 of those were trauma cases, 18 law enforcement agencies involved, and an officer hit by a firework aimed directly at him. The number I keep going back to isn't 402, it's 44. 44 people ended a holiday in the hospital instead of at home with their families. We don't know all the details. Maybe they got caught in a crowd surge, hit by fireworks, or hurt in a fight, but that number is barely mentioned in most news coverage, and it matters. Now let's talk about accountability, because that's where the real conversation needs to happen. 402 arrests sounds like a big number, and it is. But arrests alone don't fix anything. If most of those people get released, have charges reduced or dropped, and walk away with no real consequences, this will happen again. Not maybe it will. Because the math for people organizing these events stays simple. What's the worst thing that can actually happen to me? And right now the honest answer is not much. And here is what I think has to change. The platforms that made this possible, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever was used to spread the word that Newport Beach was the place to be that night, those companies need to answer some serious questions. This didn't organize on its own. Someone posted, someone shared, someone tagged, and thousands of people showed up. The same tools that let it spread so fast can also help identify the people behind it. Law enforcement should be using every resource available to find those organizers. The residents who got up early to clean the parking lot deserve better than watching this repeat next year. The man who has lived there for 5 decades deserves to feel safe in his own city. The store employees who showed up for work that day deserve better. And honestly, even the young people who got arrested deserve better. A criminal record at 17 or 19 or 22 changes your life for years to come. Whatever choices they made, the result will stay with them long after the summer ends. Newport Beach will bounce back, it always does. But the real question is, will anything actually change before next 4th of July? Right now I'm not feeling very hopeful, but I would love to be wrong. So here is where I land on all of this. This story has 2 sides and both matter equally. There is the part that is hard to look at: the unrest, the damage, the hurt officers, the people in the hospital. That part demands real accountability and clear consequences, and I truly hope that happens. And then there is the other side, the business owner who found his neighbors already cleaning up. The lifelong resident who is upset but still hopes things will get better. the people who stepped in to restore order and clean the streets. That part deserves attention too, because it shows you who this community really is. The lesson here, if there is one, is simple: no place is too nice, too wealthy, or too quiet to be safe from this kind of event. And that means every town and city needs to talk about what happens when social media turns a holiday into a call to gather. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your choice in the comments. The people who organize this on social media should face criminal charges. Stronger penalties after arrests is the only way to stop this. The platforms should be held legally responsible for what they help spread. This comes down to parenting, and nothing else will fix it until that changes. I read every single comment, so jump in there. And if this made you think a little deeper, hit that like button, subscribe to Janine Reacts, and I will see you next time. Take care, everyone.